Three, two, one, boom. We are live. We are live. I forgot to turn off my ice plunge. Sorry about that. So let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it. There's no other way to sugarcoat this and call it what it is. Our darkness, our dark shit that we all have inside of us. So I'm going to share mine. Not all of it, good Lord. Just one. I'm going to share probably the darkest pit in my life. And why would I do that? So truth sets you free. Living in a lie, not telling the truth, keeps you in bondage. And I discovered this many, many years ago as a result of being in this pit that I'm going to share with you. And from being in that pit, at this place, at the bottom of the darkness, I discovered a lot. And one of the things that I discovered, probably the greatest of all, is I was living a fucking lie. I was sugarcoating things. I was covering things up. I wasn't being real. I wasn't being honest. Not only just with others, but with myself. So I'm sharing this because, number one, for me, the more that you dig into you, why do you do the things that you do? Why have you made the mistakes that you've made? Like, why? There's a reason why. Why do you continually make mistakes that you made? You know, what? And the things that you do good, like, how do you expound on those? But today we're not talking about good. Today we're talking about dark. And the second reason I do this, number one, is for me. And number two is for you. If you are watching this and you are someone who's going through dark times, through struggle today, or you've gone in the past, everyone watching this has, and all of you have a darkness inside. Whether you admit that or not, whether you're in touch with it or not, I don't know. But you do have it. Even like the cleanliest, crispiest, Christian guy at a Sunday service, no, they got it too. You got it too, man. I can see right through you. You got it. So let's go to my story. So this was some time ago, thank God, long time ago. And I was at that point in time, the pinnacle, essentially, of my success in business. I had been investing for about 5 years or so, real estate investing. And it was I was kicking ass, taking names. I had a large rental portfolio, flipping a lot of houses. I had created a construction a few years ago, a construction company that was blowing up, doing incredibly well, insanely well. I was going on the news, being interviewed on Fox News routinely. I had written my first book. I was doing live events, coaching, speaking, teaching. From the outside world, everybody thought, Brant's the man. And we had the big house. My wife and I used to drive around this neighborhood when we were dead broke. It was where the rich folks lived. And we just were dreaming wow, look at that house. Wow, look at that house. Wow, look at that house. What would that be like? We never really set a goal to live there. We just drove through and dreamed. It was we were dead broke living in an apartment years and then we lived there. The big house on land and kids going to private school. Had it all. We had money. Was making money, making good money. First night. That was the dream, right? Here's the thing. Money doesn't solve anything if you don't have your stuff fixed inside. If your shit's broke inside, then money's just gonna expose all your weaknesses. And my wife and I, at that point in time, had probably been married years at that point in time. And we both came into the marriage with baggage. And we had a rocky relationship at times, especially in the beginning. Because, like, she was stubborn, I was stubborn, she didn't want to change, I didn't want to change. Like, we're trying to, it was stupid, dude. Like, we were just like, we would fight a lot. But when you're broke and you're fighting, it's almost like, it's not easy either, but you have less options. Start making money, like, you have more options. And so we were making money, and it was just compounding the problems that we had between me and her, but mainly really it was within me. I mean, she had her own problems, and she knows that and admits that, but it was like everything that she would do, I would turn from like, it's a lot, like, that was a level 2 or level 3 thing that she did, and I make a level 10. I would turn that volume up every single time, make her to be the villain. I would make her to be the villain, which was ultimately making me a victim. I didn't understand that. You're the villain. You're the bad guy, which made me what? The victim. So at this point in time, we were it had just been it was arguments, fighting, this and this. And the funny thing was, like, we fought more about money when we had money than we didn't have money. Figure that out. And we fought about money too when we didn't have money, but we really fought about it when we had money. Stupid. Anyways, that seems to be a pattern with people. And at this point in time, we live in this big house, and we had a leak in the bathroom, in our master bathroom, and it went over to the closet. We had carpet in the closet, ripped the carpet out. I just left it that way. It'd been that way for a couple months, so it was just dry concrete slab, because I'm like, we're gonna get a divorce. I'm not gonna, I could just send a text and the carpet would change that day. Well, I'll just wait till the guys come in, we're gonna sell the house, we'll get divorced, and we'll do other repairs, and we'll do that then. So this point in time, we were barely talking. Like, we'd go days without talking, or if it was just something with the kids, like administrative talk. Because we'd talk, we'd fight, and we'd argue. And I was just like, man, I was making her out to be like the worst woman in the world. And she had nothing to deserve that. She spoke her mind freely. I'm married like 100% Italian, so she's gonna speak her mind. I didn't want her to speak her mind, because there was certain things I didn't want to hear. And a lot of the things she was speaking were challenging me, and I didn't want to man up. That's part of the truth I've discovered. Her request, things she was saying, sometimes was just speaking her feelings. Like, I didn't want to man up to like handle the feelings that she had. So her communication was just really shine a spotlight on my insecurities, on my lack of being a man. So this all came to a head when, at this point in time, like I said, we weren't talking, days on end, months. We were like in this dark, dark place. She had already been talking to a friend who was a divorce attorney, and I walked in on her. She was, I went to the bathroom. I was going to go to the closet, because the bathroom's connected to the closet, to get a shirt. And I, opened it. She used to go in there and pray. It was her prayer closet. And I opened the door, lights were out, and she's in there crying. She's really like weeping, like aching inside, and she's crying on the cold concrete floor. She's skinny as a rail. She was pregnant, and she hadn't told me she was pregnant. Think about that. My wife was pregnant and didn't tell me. How does that make you feel? And so at this point in time, it was just like, it was bad. And then she asked me, she was like, is there any way, can we make this work? Please, please, and she was just like begging me. Please, I love you so much. And what did I do? I stepped over her, got my shirt, and said, leave me alone. And I walked out. had done nothing, where there was no affairs, there was no cheating, there was none of that. I was just a hard-hearted man. I was stone cold. I had built up this story of these wrongs and everything she had done made her like the public enemy number one. She was the biggest villain in the world. That's what I did. And I left and drove off. And there was something though that stung me, because I had like been really good at like conditioning my heart to like be hard. And what ultimately, well, I won't get to ultimately just yet. In just a second, I'll wrap this up. But you know, I had things in childhood like sexual abuse that I hadn't dealt with. I hadn't even told my wife about this. This process that triggered from being in this pit with my wife opened up all this stuff. And I didn't realize all of this baggage that I brought to the marriage. I thought she brought baggage, and she did. She'll tell you. But we as men, we have baggage too. Right? And you think you can just like check that baggage at the door, but you can't, man. Like, you gotta unzip it and you gotta unpack it. And like, you gotta dig deep sometimes, guys. I don't know what your pain is or what the problems that you've brought into your marriage or into your relationship with your kids, but guys, if you don't fix your shit, it's gonna destroy you, man. Like, have you ever gone days without taking a shit? Like, shit is like poison. Like that, it's toxins in your body. It's toxins in your body. Like, I didn't think the video was gonna go this way, but if you think about it, like if you've ever been like constipated for days on end, like you don't feel good. You're grumpy, you're irritable, and like there's pain because it's toxins inside. That's the same way. Like, I don't know what your past hurt is. Typically it comes from either a parent, typically more so a father, but also a mother. It could be a sibling, it could be a loved one, like sexual abuse. It could be, struggle as a child, like maybe it's like living in a poverty situation. Who knows what it is? Psychological abuse, like a verbally abusive parent. A parent just wasn't there. A parent that was there, but they weren't there. That's hurtful too. And people, especially as men, so the message is for men, is we don't deal with it. And I hadn't dealt with it. So I came to a place that is a powerful place, if you allow it to be, which is a place of surrender. Okay, I entered into a place of surrender. I had to take a long look in the mirror at myself and just like admit the truth. Like, I just had to admit the truth. Like I was in pain and I was struggling and I had all these hurts and I had all these insecurities, and I didn't know how to be the husband she needed me to be. So rather than me level up and rise up and be the man that I needed to be, I was making these excuses to push her down and make her seem like, who are you? You're broken. You got these issues. This is all your fault. All this kind of stuff. It just made her feel terrible about herself. But there is a good side, and it arose from that pit. Because when you're in a pit, my friends, it's not fun, but you're going to be presented with some choices. Okay, you're going to be presented with some choices, and the choice is going to be able to stay in that pit, and some people will stay in their pit. They'll stay in that pit for days, weeks, months, years, decades, for their whole life. They'll live in some sort of pit. Where you rise out and you begin to take steps to climb up to that peak. And that's what I did. I surrendered. I made a decision. I just said, you know what? I'm going to come to this place of truth, honesty, realness, being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is a place of power. And I'm going to fight. I'm not going to let my marriage be a statistic. And I'm not just going to coexist in some marriage like some fruitless, sexless, just polarity type of marriage. Like, no, like, we're gonna have a great, incredible marriage, or we're not gonna be married. And it's a decision we made. Like, this is gonna be great. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna be great parents. We're gonna go all in with this, and we fixed. Like, I found a way and a path, and things that worked for me, and things that worked for us, and we went on that journey together, and I'm still on it to this day. Why do you think I'm doing this video? So I don't know where this is hitting you. I don't know if this is for you. I don't know if this is for a friend, someone you know. But the reason I'm sharing it is, number one, for me, but number two is really for you. Okay? Because there's power, like, that can be produced from your pit, from sharing your truth, just letting it all go, just letting it out. Have nothing, like, sharing these things and sharing your problems and yours. Like, when you share, like, you have nothing to hide. You walk in freedom. Like, the truth literally does set you free. Okay, so I know I unpacked a lot on this, but it was just like what came up in my mind, my heart, and just it's a message of hope. My wife and I tomorrow will have been married 23 years. 23 years. We've been up against the ropes, back's been against the wall. There's hope, my friends. You just have to surrender. Wherever you're at, surrender to your bullshit, surrender to your lies, begin to tell the truth. Just begin to fight. Fight the good fight, my friends. If you're in a place, if you're in a pit, you're in a dark place, like I said in these videos, you don't need to comment or like. I get it, man. People don't like, I get that. But feel free to message me or reach out to someone who can help you. I got a message from a guy yesterday who's been reading my stuff. He hasn't liked or commented on anything as far as I know, since I began sharing these messages again. But he reached out. I'm struggling. I can use a little help. We're gonna have a call today. So if you're struggling, don't stay in that place, my friend. Like, begin to rise out of your pit. I'm here to help. You guys take care.